The Bikeriders, directed by Jeff Nichols, is the latest movie to come out this weekend. It was obviously very hyped. This movie had been delayed a bunch of times. I felt like it was never going to come out, but it finally is, and it is finally here. I was moderately excited for this movie at first. I thought it had a really stupid title. I hate the more literal titles we've been getting recently, but that's not really the movie's fault. It's kind of like a marketing opinion. Also, it's based off of a book of the same name. Anyway, I liked the talent that was involved, including Jeff Nichols, and then obviously Tom Hardy, Michael Shannon, the girl who plays the wife of Benny. I like her a lot. I like Mike Faced, obviously. Not a big Austin Butler fan, but to each their own with that guy. So yeah, I was excited for this movie, and I would say I don't know. I was excited but apprehensive. There's just a side of me that looks at these kinds of movies and as, it's going to be formulaic, it's going to be boring, it's going to be, just kind of like a fluff piece about the 60s and the 70s, yada yada yada. But what we ended up getting was a really passionate and earnest film that followed a group of people that don't really get to have a time in the spotlight, if that makes any sense. Not a group of people that isn't really shown in the best way ever. And I think that this movie, I don't know, it worked in ways that I was really shocked. Obviously, the crux of this film is the performances. I feel like without those, this movie would kind of fall apart. They're all very believable, they are all very genuine, and they all feel like real, earnest human beings. Especially Michael Shannon, I really loved his performance in this movie. I thought Tom Hardy really threw himself into this role and embraced, the leader of this biker gang who, I don't know, you could see his rise and fall from where he was at the start to where he's at the end of the movie. I thought Mike Faced added a really interesting kind of side to the film as an outsider, as an observer. I think that Austin Butler was fine. I think that anybody could have succeeded in this role, but he did a fine job. But mainly, I think the actress who did the best job was the lady who played Benny's wife. I don't remember her name at all. But I thought she was phenomenal throughout the entire movie. I thought she had so much charisma and so much character. She had an accent that could have gotten really annoying after a while, but it fit her character so well, and I felt like she was kind of the perfect vessel to be telling this story throughout different interviews and narration. This movie is very interesting. It shows off kind of Midwestern America, especially during that time, in a really more nuanced light, I guess you could say. It isn't romanticized. It isn't at all like the films you see that are about that time period with like the doo-wop music and the romanticization and stuff like that. It shows it in a very honest and realistic depiction of that time period, and I think that was really much appreciated on kind of a visual side. Also, Jeff Nichols always has a flair for good visual presentation. It's not like the best thing you'll ever see, but it is interesting enough. Like I was saying, I think this movie's biggest strength is the ability to make you care about these characters. Following a group of a motorcycle gang in the 60s isn't the most original idea in the world. However, the way that this movie was written from a character perspective really makes you sink your teeth into their interpersonal relationships, their relationships with each other, their relationships with the outside world, their relationships with the motorcycle club itself, their relationships with Johnny. It's all very fun to follow, and it's easy to get wrapped up into. It's escapism at its finest. Where the Bikeriders kind of falters for me is in its structure and narrative. I think this movie is very meandering in places and kind of doesn't know when to stop and start certain sequences. I think that it was purposefully a little bit messy because of the documentary type of storytelling format, you know, getting these piecemeal information from these different interviews from Kathy, from the other bikers. You know, it's meant to be told in that way, but I feel like the movie can dip into places that just feel monotonous, just kind of feel lazy, and can kind of feel, I don't know, unnecessary. It's a little overstuffed, is what I'm trying to say. Bikeriders is also pretty formulaic. I think that it doesn't take a lot of risks, and it doesn't really go off the beaten path all that much. I think it's very predictable from start to finish. You can definitely tell where all of this is going. And while it does tell a very genuine and kind of traditional story, it can kind of hamper a lot of the drama in the movie by making it pretty generic and samey with a lot of other films of this nature. So while, you know, I did appreciate its old school approach to storytelling, I think that inevitably it made the movie a little more disposable than it could have been. I still really enjoyed my time though with the Bikeriders. I think it was just, like I said earlier in the review, escapism at its best. This is a movie that is meant to just kind of turn off your brain and follow this story, go along the journey with these characters. It's definitely not the best thing I'm going to see all year. Some of the performances are really good, but it's very much middle of the road in places, no pun intended, but I still think it's definitely worth seeing. I think it is highly entertaining, I think it's a lot of fun, and I think we need more movies like this in our life that aren't necessarily the greatest thing I've ever seen, but aren't, you know, isn't Marvel dribble, if that makes any sense. So yeah, I'm going to give the Bikeriders a really strong B. I liked this movie a decent amount. Have you guys seen the Bikeriders? What did you think of it? Please let me know in the comments down below. Sorry for the weird lighting situation. My light bulb went out, so I don't have any natural light in my room at the moment, or unnatural light, I should say. And it's been storming all day, so I can't really get good natural lighting. So anyway, please let me know what you guys thought of this movie in the comments. Like I said, subscribe and like the video, please share it, all those good things, and I will see you next time.